Welcome, thank you for joining me. It is story time again. Timestamps in the description box. Let's jump right in. Story number 1. Opie writes, So my husband, male 36, and I, female 35, are high school sweethearts. We got pregnant in high school, dated for a few years after we had our baby, and decided we did want to get married. Through every single up and down, we were there for one another. I honestly didn't think we could have a more perfect relationship. It's something I've been so proud about most of my life. About 4 months ago, my husband asked me to get a job at his company. Before this, I had just been working part-time jobs because we didn't really need the money since we weren't financially responsible for a child anymore. However, we agreed the extra money would be lovely to go towards our family trip funds, something we both and our son add to as often as possible, our hope being to take a family vacation across Europe for a few months. And we are trying to make it happen sooner than later because our son is recently married. We want them to be able to still go on the trip without worrying about a new baby. Once I got the job, I thought it was such a great decision. I was making quite a bit of extra money and seeing my husband so much more. Well, a couple of weeks ago, one of his co-workers approached me and asked how I could be so cool with the ongoing situation. I had no idea what she was talking about. So I asked for more detail, and she told me my husband and one of his co-workers had been having an affair for over a year. Well, honestly, I trust my husband more than this woman I just met. I told him about it that night, and he immediately broke down. He told me he was so sorry, but it was true. He said I'm still the love of his life, but he needs some excitement outside of our relationship. He told me he had been feeling so guilty about it, he asked me to start working there, hoping it would make him want to cheat less. But it's actually just caused them to sneak around more and find their relationship even more hot. I don't know what to do. I'm so humiliated. I feel like I should stick this out because we have been together so long, and I know it would devastate our son. But I don't think I can move on from this. He didn't even apologize. Just told me every man needs something new and exciting in a long-term relationship, and that it means nothing. Well, it certainly feels like something. Edit. Thank you everyone for the kind words and support. I also got many messages that were so sweet. It has been really helpful to read everyone's advice. I was trying to figure out the best way to tell our son. I wanted to sit him down and let him know that my husband and I are getting a divorce. I bought the things to make his favorite meal and invited him over for dinner. Well, a couple of hours ago, he called me and was extremely upset. He said that my husband told him I cheated and we were getting a divorce. He begged my son not to tell me, as it would just cause further problems. But my son wanted to know how I could do that to Dad and couldn't stay silent. I told him what actually happened over the phone and he started crying. I am absolutely furious that my husband put my son through that. Even though he's an adult, it's still a very upsetting topic and it should have been handled with care, not lies. I found a great divorce lawyer with my friend's help, and I'm getting the ball rolling immediately. His mistress also messaged me after she found out I knew. She said I should be grateful that my husband and I had a good marriage while we did, but she would be taking my place now. I ignored her message and blocked her. I have an amazing support system in place and will be moving out later today. I'm staying with my friend and his wife until I can find a place of my own. I told my husband I was divorcing him and moving out. He broke down and asked how I could do this to our family. He said I'm the one making the decision to end it, and I should be ashamed I would throw away our marriage. He said he couldn't believe I would throw in the towel so quickly. I told him to F off and go cry to his mistress. So now you're all caught up. If any more happens, I might update again. Thank you all again for your kind words and support. You guys have made this a little easier. Update. So I read everyone's comments about reporting my husband and his mistress to HR and also sleeping with his boss. I did report them to HR, but unfortunately there isn't anything they can really do because there's not actually any proof. I showed them the text, but they said unless I had proof of them committing acts on work property, nothing could be done. On the bright side, I guess, I and his mistress found out there have been a lot of others, including some older than her. His older affair has been going on for over 5 years. It was just a friends with benefits type situation. It was one of them moms I was on the PTA with, both married and just looking for sex apparently. Well, his mistress is just devastated. She cannot believe he would possibly do this to her. She actually reached out to me asking for advice on how to handle everything. Once she realized I blocked her, she had one of her co-workers come and ask me. As far as my job goes, I actually really love it. If the two of them, I'm keeping it. I'm good at it and I enjoy it. I make a livable wage from it. HR did tell me they would transfer me to a different branch. So I'm actually in the process of moving, not just out of my ex's and I's house, but pretty far away. My ex begged me for a second shot, to honor my vows and the commitment I made. He got very upset when I brought up the fact that he didn't keep his vows. He told me that first and foremost, loyalty should come first, that no matter the mistake, I should stand by his side. I looked at him and told him to kiss my effing ass. That is my favorite thing to come out of this so far. My son believed me 100% without showing him the messages from the mistress. He cut contact with his dad. Also, to clear up some confusion, my son is 20. He met his girlfriend the first year of college and they got married 2 months ago. Very recent and part of the reason I was so concerned about the news of his dad and I. So all in all, I'm moving and starting over, and I have full support from everyone except my parents who think I should stay and stick it out. Thank you so much to everyone who sent kind words and encouragement. You truly made a hard time a little easier. Wow, OP, when I read your first post and you were talking about all the time you've invested in this relationship, I was a little bit worried that you were going to stick it out. But I'm glad that you've seen that this isn't worth sticking around for. And thank goodness you didn't fall for your husband's manipulation, his gaslighting. He was really playing on your feelings. He knows that you're a loyal person, that you're a faithful partner, that you take your vows seriously. And that is why he was talking about, what about loyalty and you should stand by his side no matter what, etc., etc. But I'm glad you didn't fall for it. And how very ugly it is when somebody cheats on their significant other and then runs around, and in this case to your own child, and says you're the one that cheated. And OP, you've just got to love how his mistress told you, basically, thank you for your service through all these years, but I'm taking over now. The absolute audacity, and how ironic that it all turned around on her, and well, what a rude awakening and what a cheek to contact you for advice. But OP, you are only 35 years old. You still have so much of life ahead of yourself. So continue to work, continue to save money for a trip to Europe and get out there and enjoy life. And as for your husband, you know, somebody like that, he's going to be stuck with himself forever. So let him go ahead and continue to run around this way and that way. You just enjoy your life and be happy, and you will be happy, Opie. Well, there certainly is a lot more to be said about this story because there's so much audacity here. So leave your feelings, your thoughts about it in the comments. Let's move on to story number 2. Opie writes, "My boyfriend burned my late husband's beanie. It happened last night. I'm still shaken up by what he did and couldn't even sleep. We've met when I moved into another place. He has always been sweet and kind, but his behavior would change at the mention of my late husband. He suddenly becomes upset and anxious. Yesterday, he asked if we could go out, but I refused because I was looking at my late husband's stuff. I told him about the beanie that I got my husband with his name on it that he wore at the hospital till the day he died. My boyfriend started a fight with me over it, saying I refused to go out because the beanie made me feel upset. Then he sneaked it home with him and burnt it. I found out after I noticed it was lost and went to get it back from him knowing he took it. It was horrible. I started screaming at him, then went home. I kept crying the whole drive home and couldn't sleep the night. The beanie meant so much to me, and he saw it as, quote, distraction, unquote. He tried calling me this morning, but I have not responded." And here's Opie's update. "Hi, first of all, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who reached out to me with advice and well wishes. Second of all, I wanted to let you know that I'm doing fine. I had blocked him on everything. He tried to get me to talk, but I shut all his attempts down. He didn't even apologize. He kept blaming it on me. I told him we were done and kicked him out after giving back all the stuff he left at my place. I mean, I could have burnt it, but I'm nothing like him, honestly. It feels so confusing. I keep asking myself, where did I go wrong? It's not just him. I had people treat me the same way, especially when it came to my late husband. My own family blamed me for the loss and said I deserved the misery I was living in the past 3 years for getting involved with a, quote, sick man, unquote, let alone marrying him. But I loved him. He was by far the one true love I'd experienced. He was my everything. And although we weren't together for long, it felt like a lifetime because of how much impact he had on my life, even after his passing. I love him and everything about him, and I'm so grateful to have known him and spent a portion of my life with him. Sorry for the long rant. I don't have lots of people in my life that I can talk to, and so the internet is my outlet." Opie, that was very cruel of this man to burn something that he knew is so important to you, that you have so much sentimental value attached to. And I've seen some of your previous posts as well, Opie, and I know that you are really grieving and struggling with the process. Grieving is one of those things that there is no shortcut. There's no way around it. You just have to go through the fire. You have to feel the emotions, and that's the only way you get out on the other side. And it's always there with you to some degree. But you do learn to go on. And I think, Opie, you are really struggling with that. It's been 3 years. There's nothing wrong with still missing your husband. But I do feel you need therapy, Opie, to help you cope, to help you navigate your way through the grieving process so that you don't get stuck in that spot. And as I said, I know it never goes away entirely. But we do need to learn how to live with it and how to live full lives, to live the kind of life that your husband would be able to look at you and be proud of you. I think hold off on the dating for a while, go to therapy, work through all of this, and Opie, I really hope that you find happiness again in your life, because it seems to me you are capable of very deep love and loyalty, and you deserve somebody that can share their life with you. Well, that's it for this edition. Thank you very much for joining me, for allowing me to share these stories with you. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing because that really helps my channel out a lot. And leave a comment. And I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Take very good care of yourself. Bye.